Welcome back to Strength Cultures Podcast, number one in the hearts, number one in the charts. Checking in before the episode today, episode 109, to firstly say that I hope you had a fantastic end of year and have started January off very positively. We appreciate you sticking with us as we took a few weeks off from the podcast, obviously, but we are back now, back to normal scheduling every week, moving forward from this episode. Obviously, with it being a new year, we know a lot of you will be looking to undertake new goals and set yourself up from a training, health, fitness, performance, all of that sort of stuff. So I just wanted to let you know that we are available for coaching. If you want to either join the gym and get started with one of the coaches here, join the community here at Strength Culture, or if you're looking for some online coaching, online support, accountability, programming, and all of that sort of stuff, we do offer that as well. So if you are interested in getting started with your 2024 goals, you can reach out to one of the coaches on Instagram, or you can click the first link down below, fill out that form on the website, and we'd be happy to chat and see what we can do to improve your training, fitness, and performance for 2024. Obviously, we have a lot of events coming up where we pushed a lot last year, and we're going to continue to do that. They were fantastic for our community, fantastic for motivation, and obviously also just pushing and giving training and direction. So we have our Novice comp on March 23rd. We have push-pull run on the 20th of April. And then we're going to be running our first USAPL comp towards the back end of May. So if you're interested in getting started in any of those, please reach out. If you're looking for the Novice comp, there's only a few weeks sort of left to make that sort of training block productive. So we'd love to help you. We have a few slots left for that. And for those looking for push-pull run, please reach out. Get started with a coach as soon as possible so we can give you the best opportunity to succeed on the day. So again, thank you for sticking with us over the break. We're keen for 2024, and let's get into the episode. Let's roll again. We are joined today, special guest, Sherro, clap it up, Burley Strength. Woo! Welcome. Long time between. I feel like we were trying to get you on last year, Christmas time.
Yeah, I was in town for David Gray, and we were going to maybe do it then. But, last Christmas, I think life just got in the way.
Yeah.
No, it was the Christmas before because I was in Canberra last year.
Yeah.
Anyway.
David Gray a year ago already.
It was a start
Earlier this year, yeah. Yeah, like March-ish?
Yeah, March, April maybe.
Yeah, I mean, time flies. Oh, all right. I can talk loud, don't worry. I'll get animated and we'll start.
Yeah, lovely.
A bit much.
You guys were just saying off air something about some backyard ultra brick thing.
Oh, yeah. So
Where'd you get brick from?
Yeah, I don't know where you got brick from.
Just throwing out the lingo.
Throwing out
Just around a couple of endurance athletes now, just throwing out some
Hybrid,
words.
you know, couple of.
We can have a competition about who's the most mediocre endurance athlete. I was going to claim that title, but then I beat Charlie's half marathon time, so it's fine.
I'm the most mediocre because I've only done.
You won push pull run,
but I've only done a sprint try, and that was an endurance.
Someone said to Didier the other day, one of Didier's new clients or something, asked. Didier's doing the Melbourne half marathon, and he goes, "What's your goal?" And he goes, "Just to beat Charlie." And he goes, "What did he do?" And it was like 2 hours and 21 minutes. He goes, "What, did he stop and have a coffee?"
I ran a 2:13.
2:13, nice.
Anthony, who just signed up, one of is a podcaster's name, has just signed up to work with us. It's like, I like you guys, you're humble. So, but also, your run times, they're pretty modest. Like, they're not. I was like, that's the nicest way of saying we're shit runners.
Nice little backhander.
I've been an athlete I'm like 35. I've been playing sport in some form since I was like 5 or 6, and I've never been good at any of them. Like, I've been incredibly mediocre at everything.
Weren't you like the first Aussie to squat?
I was first on attempt 1,000 pounds.
To attempt?
Yeah, I had the biggest squat miss in Australia for quite a while. That's probably my favourite claim to fame.
Yeah, equipped.
Yeah, well, biggest squat miss.
What's 1,000 pounds? 455.
455.
How did it go? How did it go?
Well, I missed it. I missed it a few times.
Yeah, talk us through it.
It was heavy.
Trying to stand up with it.
What year was this?
The first time I attempted it would have been 2014, I think. Yeah. So I did my first Equip Nationals 2011, Capo Nationals, squatted like 320. Squatted 400 in 2013 at GPC Nats, and then it took me 2 years to get to 410 in 2015.
Wow.
So I think I'm only one of two Australians, me and Wayne Howard, are the only two who've squatted over 400 in 2 different weight classes.
Well, then what are you talking about? You're no good at any sports.
Man, it's equiplifting. It's
you're
the
literally
illusion of
one of
strength.
two.
It's the illusion of strength.
He didn't say no good. He said mediocre.
Mediocre.
So,
Exactly. Top two, like, I'm still second.
Second. Of everyone that's done it, you're still last.
Yeah, exactly.
What do they call second? First loser?
First loser.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Fucking hell. That's like, I just feel like that much weight it's like just courage at that point.
Yeah, look,
and a bit of stupidity, maybe.
Yeah, definitely both.
Yeah.
I've talked about the idea of like being scared of squats for a long time because like they're meant to be fucking terrifying, right? No one gets under a squat bar and is like, this is like a walk in the park. Like bench, sure, you're never really holding enough weight that it's scary, and deadlifts you just let go of it. Squatting takes legit courage. Like it's the right word for it.
That's why my squat hasn't progressed in years.
Yeah, turns out you're a massive coward. And that's okay. I like quoting June, the book. There's the Litany of Fear, which is this quote about like facing your fear and allowing it to pass over and through you, and only I will remain. And I've liked the idea that like you're not meant to be fearless, right? No one, like, fear is like the most primal human response we've got. I think, if you're fearless, you're either an idiot or you're not actually pushing the boundaries of what's like fucking properly terrifying, right? I think lifting weights is a great analogy for life like that. It's fucking terrifying. I'm in my mid-30s and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, I own a business and I have a kid and I still feel like every day like, fuck, I don't know what's going on here. It's meant to be a bit terrifying. So you learn to face it, be like, yeah, this is a terrifying emotion and I'm scared, but I'm going to do this anyway because I've done the prep, I've done the work. And in that case, it's like squatting's not that complex. It's like, 2 or 3 things you got to pay attention to and then you just push and you'll be fine.
And the 455 on your back.
Yeah, but that feeling of heavy is universal, right?
Yeah.
Like,
that's the old Ed Cohen.
Yeah, like and it genuinely is, right? And it now means I'll never get under a squat bar and be like, oh, that feels crazy heavy. Like it still feels heavy, but it's not quite the same.
Well, who was coaching you into it?
No one. I just did it myself.
You just did it yourself.
Nathan Jones helped me wrote some programs for me for a little bit. And I've followed a couple of programs from people, bits and pieces, but most I've done it myself.
Yeah.
It was a fun time, but it feels like a lifetime ago these days.
It's 10 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, as it stands, like I did my first comp in 2010. Next year, I'll be 10 years of just running meets. Like, I've been a meet director for 10 years.
Yeah.
But I've been in the sport now for,
OG, we call you.
Yeah, we've been around. It's
OG.
I almost am sick of it, but not quite.
Not quite? Nah. That's good.
I'm sick of doing it myself.
Yeah? You done?
Yeah. Oh, man, I did my last comp in. I've talked a bit of shit about I will, at some point, if I'm close enough to cut to the hundreds, I'll compete once more. Because then I've done every weight class from the hundreds to the supers.
Yep.
But come down instead of going back up. That's how everyone does it. Everyone goes up. I started up and have come back down.
Ran your way down to the hundreds.
It's a hard sport to stay engaged with for years.
Well, especially when you turn it into your business, right? Like that's the thing that fucked me. Is like 2015 was like, so I ran PTC Canberra for 2 years and then took over in 2016 and became Burley Strength. And 2015, we took a team of like 14 people to GPC Nats and it was this like 5-day crazy event. I competed twice. I competed equipped on Tuesday and raw on Sunday, coached 14 lifters, had a fucking great time. And then took over the gym and it became this like different thing, right? Like training's always been this escape of I go and do the thing and that's the thing, right? But then you turn it into your job and walk out of your office into your gym that you own and pay the rent on and have to think about cleaning that bit over there. And yeah, that ruined it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
ruined it for Jamie.
I think that's what ruined it for me too.
And man, you're not alone, right? Like I think there's lots of us who've done exactly that. Like ruined our relationship with training by making it your job.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is that why you've felt a flurry into the endurance world?
Yeah, so I got into indoor rock climbing for a couple of years.
That really got a surge.
Yeah. So I got proper into
bouldering.
Yeah, I got proper into it because that's who I am as a person.
Yeah.
Like I'm mates with the guy that represented Australia in rock climbing at the Olympics, and like I've known some cool people in that world. And then gyms closed, like COVID hit, so I got into riding mountain bikes. got super into that because that's who I am as a person, and that was all we were allowed to do was like go outside a bit. Rode a bunch of bikes for a year or so, then got into running, and now I'm a runner after actively campaigning against the concept of running as a hobby.
Have you wrapped it up into your identity? Is it in there?
I'm much better these days at separating out those pieces than I once was.
Yeah.
I have lots of the fingers in lots of pies, right? And I'm okay with them all coming together. It's not like John the runner anymore. It's like I like running, I ride bikes.
Yeah, fucking oath.
Stuff like that.
We interrupt this episode of the podcast with a word from our sponsors, Hardcore Harry's. You may remember Ethan Fleming. He is Australia's version of David Goggins. He has created a crazy new event called the King of the Hill, which is a last man standing event on November the 2nd. And the way it runs is it's a 3.2 kilometer loop up this big ass hill, and it just runs every hour on the hour. And the last person standing, the last person climbing that hill is going to win a $10,000 cash prize. Ethan wanted me to tell you that there's no second place, there's no third place. It is literally the last man standing takes all the glory of the King of the Hill. As a loyal listener to the Strength Culture podcast, you can use the code CULTURE2 at www.hardcoreharrys.com.au to save both 25% off the ticket price for the King of the Hill or 25% off any of their apparel line for their endurance events, spray jackets, hats, and all the other cool stuff. We'd love to see some Strength Culture faithful climbing that hill on November the 2nd. So if you do decide to jump on board, please let us know. We'd love to know how you go. Again, all of the information at www.hardcoreharrys.com.au. King of the Hill, November the 2nd, 10,000, last man standing. The endurance thing's just going to keep getting momentum, I reckon.
I think it's always had momentum.
We're just doing
Melbourne.
I think we're all just fucking fat powerlifters who have found this thing that we were like really shit at and gotten marginally better at, and you're like, yo, this is the thing, right? But this is
the endorphins.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like even the Melbourne Marathon, like when I went and did the 10K this year, I was like, wow, this is a proper.
Yeah.
40,000 people are doing it.
Yeah, man. We're like, there's 30 people at this powerlifting event. It's fucking huge.
Sell out.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and even the tries and stuff, like with the old gym we used to work, like that.
Yeah, they
were hammering tries back then, 10 years ago.
I do think we're definitely within the strength world. Like there's this massive pickup now, but I do think external to us, because we aren't the fucking centre of the universe in the strength world. I don't know. It was maybe this podcast and our echo chamber is, but I think running as a whole. Look, Melbourne Marathon sold out.
Yeah,
this month, like within
like
weeks. Whereas last year Melbourne Marathon sold out. Like it took a lot longer. I think popularity worldwide, maybe because of fucking Goggins and every other endurance
thing. You can't just live in a bubble. Like endurance athletes have, like it's always been way bigger than all the other sports.
No, it's definitely way bigger.
I just look at the sellout. I'm just looking at the sellout.
I feel like
the sellout. It just happened like literally 8 months in advance.
We need more data to look at.
We need more data.
I
feel like there was still tickets like 3 months out.
Have you got a PMID for this conversation?
Yeah, word on the street.
Word on the street.
I'm just wondering if they release, if they do a little sellout and they'll release another.
I mean, who doesn't, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how that shit works.
We'll see.
Anyway, we popularised running. That is what it is.
That's definitely how it works.
It's definitely it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got into it because I started riding bikes and was like, oh, this is just fun. Like I'm having fun riding bikes. And because of that, I wanted to do.
You're doing trail riding more.
Yeah, like mountain bikes.
Yeah.
Canberra's fucking great for mountain biking.
Yeah.
And so, I did a ton of that. There's a mountain bike trail that loops all the way around Canberra. It's like 138 Ks and it's like 2,200 meters of elevation across 138 Ks. And I rode that in a day. It took me like 13 hours.
Wow.
Door to door. And I remember rolling back down the street and like looking at my watch and being like, 13 hours and 8 minutes. Like I wanted under 13, but was just cooked. And there's a tiny voice in my head. It's like, if you really wanted to, you've got enough in your legs to keep pedaling and get to 150. And everything in my brain was like, nah, I'm so excited for the beer that's in that fridge and I need a sit down that isn't a bike seat. And that was the spark where I was like, oh, this is like real interesting, right? Because in the strength world, the world we all kind of like grew up in, failure is pretty binary. Like, I'm reasonably good at the psych upside. I can do that bit very well. You still will always want more than you've got. But I think in endurance sport, you always have more than you want. Or I'm yet to find that line. So I was, up until a couple of months ago, training for a 24-hour mountain bike race to do that solo, exclusively as an experiment into how deep into a pit of misery can I dig myself and keep going.
The demons.
Yeah, exactly.
Demon exploration, we call it.
Yeah. So that's the fascinating side of things for me these days, is it's just so different to what I knew.
Yeah,
I'm starting to see it as well, because when my first goal when I started running was like, I just want to get to a point where I can comfortably run a 5K. And then since then, I've done the 10K, did a half marathon. We're about to do the Olympic distance try. We're already discussing a 70.3.
Yeah, of course you are.
You just start going the next thing, the next thing.
Absolutely.
You're like, well, how far can I go?
Yeah, man.
How far can I go?
Yeah.
And it does happen naturally, because you kind of just, it's the same as probably just, I want a deadlift 180, and then I'll deadlift 200, and then I'll do two, and you just keep pushing it.
Yeah,
it's kind of the same thing with endurance.
Progress is addictive, right? Like that's why so many people fall in love with training, because it's really objectively obvious.
Yes.
Like you're making progress. But this is where, interestingly, I think I've always considered myself an athlete and been very competitive. I will talk ad nauseum about how I'm the most competitive person going around. And for a long time was like, competition's where it counts. Like that's what matters. And then I ran a half marathon last year and fucking hated the whole experience.
Okay.
And I maintain on that day, like I was happy with the number. I wanted under 215. I got to like 213, was happy with that. But at no point in the actual experience did I have any of those like beautiful flow state moments that I had running last year. And it was because every time someone ran past me, I got the shits. And like I was running my pace and I was happy with all of that was there. Objectively, I'm a fucking coach and I've been doing this for years. Like I know how to do all of that bit. I reckon on that day I could have run faster without the race. Like if I'd just gone out the door and run a half, I would have run faster than I did with the race, because every time someone came past me, it like pulled me out of that like beautiful flow state zone and gave me the shits basically. So next on my list is I'll probably run a 50.
Yeah, I think you told me that.
Yeah, and I'm just going to run it out my front door and run 50.
Are you going to do that on your own?
Yeah. That's the whole point these days, is I don't want to talk to people. I talk to people for a living. I go train by myself, so I don't have to talk to people.
Yeah.
I like that.
50Ks, how long will that take?
I did a 30K trail last year that had 900 meters of climbing, and that was like 4.5 hours. 50, I reckon's probably, like if I did it under 7.5, I'd probably be happy.
Full day of work.
Yeah, well, I was training for a 24-hour race, so, there's a fairly large engine under the fairly large body at the moment. I'm excited to push.
The heart and lungs are ready. Are you planning on doing the 24 again? Or like?
So I was in peak shape for it and ready for it, and then found a crack in my bike frame and basically didn't have a spare $2,000 to replace my bike in 3.5 weeks or something. And like couldn't deal with the mental stress of like fix the bike, find the cash, do all that shit, and keep hammering the training that I was doing. Like I think I was doing somewhere between 160 to 200 Ks a week on a bike across like 10 to 12 hours. And I had probably one more like 12-hour day to do. And then I was like tapering, and I was like right on the fucking edge. And that basically broke me. I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. I watched your video on that.
Yeah, I was just miserable about it for a few weeks, which was annoying.
Absolutely. You invested a lot of time and effort into it.
And it was the thing that isn't like the rest of my life, right? Like that's exclusively for me, and that's why I do it these days.
Yeah.
And so to have that pulled away for like no good reason. It's not like I hurt myself or like anything like that. I just like my bike's fucked and I can't do it.
Yeah.
That sucked, but shit happens.
Where have you learnt? I'm assuming you're just programming yourself with all this stuff as well. Where's your inspiration from? Where you learning?
So the bike stuff this year I've done mostly following Trainer Road is one of the many indoor bike trainer platforms, and they've got AI programming that's actually just machine learning and if-then statements.
Yeah.
And that's worked really well. Spending a bunch of time on a fucking stationary bike staring out a window is a bit...
Oh, you're doing it stationary?
Yeah, I did most of it stationary, yeah.
So
I've done something like 200 and something hours on a bike this year, and I reckon 75% of that's indoors.
That's demons.
Yeah, it's so the first...
Just in your lounge room?
No, in my shed.
In your shed?
Yeah, staring out the window. The first couple of months was all right because I just watch movies and shit.
Yeah.
But then when it got properly hard, I was 15 minutes of psyching myself up to get on the bike, and then it's all music and I have to work, and That was, it's the hardest training I've ever done by far. Like, endurance is so much harder than strength training in a way that I don't think any of us ever realised. Like, we all thought we knew how to train hard.
I thought we were going to war, man.
Yeah. Like,
there's nowhere to hide.
No. And especially, like, on an indoor trainer where the moment you stop putting power through the pedals, it pauses. So, like, there's no, like, you ride a bike outside. Like,
you can have a little ride.
I rode 50 Ks this morning. It took me, 2 and a bit hours. And, a bunch of that was, like, my average heart rate was 140 beats or something for 2 hours, right? But a lot of that is, coasting down hills, that sort of shit.
Yeah, little spurts and stuff.
Yeah, 90 minutes of riding on a train is 90 minutes of pedaling. And that shit was fucked.
Yeah, wow. I could not do any of that. No chance.
I haven't touched it since.
I think I would internally combust if I had to sit there for so long.
I used to think so, and then I started taking ADHD meds. And so I know the days where I've got 40 minutes into a session and been like, why the fuck is this so hard? Yeah, shit, I didn't take my meds this morning.
Yeah.
That's it, because my brain's just like, fuck this. I
did feel like I
tried the treadmill. So I did 5K.
Didn't you hurt yourself?
I wouldn't say I hurt myself. My knee was fucked after the half marathon.
To clarify, did your knee hurt after the treadmill?
I thought it was on the treadmill. You hurt yourself. Weren't you like, I ran fine and then I did one session on the treadmill and now my knee hurts?
Yeah, but that was 4 days after.
Yeah, and you also fucking maxed out your reverse lunge the day before.
It was 4 days after.
Oh, was that all that whole period?
Yeah. It was a big week. It was a big week.
Charlie's a finely tuned machine. You got to give him some slack, all right?
So my point was that the treadmill was boring as fuck.
I like the treadmill.
Yeah, I like.
You like it?
Yeah, I enjoy it.
I never
How
thought
long do you do it? Like, I'm talking 90 minutes. Like, if I had to do a
90 minutes, nah.
No way.
Yeah, so I
For half an hour, treadmill's all right. Yeah.
I did a couple of 2-hour sessions on the trainer, and that was brutal. And I never thought I'd be that person, but then was just committed enough to doing it. And because it's super measurable, right? Like, it shows you your power output. I've got my heart rate connected to it. So I'm like watching the numbers the whole time. And it was rough, but I'm glad I've done it because, it's proved a lot of it is proving to myself that I can do it, right?
Yeah. Demons.
Yeah, like I think I lifted weights for a long time because I was trying to prove something to someone else. And these days I'm running and riding bikes.
Yeah.
Because I don't really give a shit about it. I don't know if I can do it. So that's all I care about.
Yeah. No, I like that because I think there's a lot of that, especially when I started powerlifting. You're putting shit out on Instagram. You're trying to almost prove to other people.
Yeah, bro.
A bit of that, whatever, ego. Whereas no one really cares about your running.
Yeah. My
you can post your numbers and no one gives a shit.
No one knows what's going on.
There's about 2 people that message me.
Yeah.
You'd
They're
be
also
one
the
of
most boring training videos in the world. Like, I got sick of making training content that, like, there's only 2 angles I can use in my shed to actually get my face in a camera, me on a bike that doesn't go anywhere for 90 minutes at a time. It's not real thrilling content.
Yeah, it's fucking, that's mad.
Yeah. It's been an interesting switch.
So, bike on the, because I got a Wahoo kicker.
Yeah, so I've got a Tax Neo. Yeah. Same concept, different brand.
And which, you said you used Trainer Road.
Trainer Road, yeah.
Zwift?
I thought about Zwift. I don't need the gamification bit.
Yeah.
Like, that's really all Zwift does is, like, gives you the ability to go and ride with your friends.
All right.
At least that's my opinion. I've used it a bit in the past, but I wouldn't use it anymore because I just want the numbers. Like, and it had all the, like, and I'll show you at some point, like, the sessions built into it. So, like, I was doing 5 days a week and, a couple of them are like easy zone 2 rides and then a few of them are like hard threshold efforts or VO2 efforts and stuff like that. So
it's all built into it.
Yeah, basically. And Trainer Road, like, I did a lot of research because that's who I am as a person. And Trainer Road copped some shit for, much like any of the machine learning program platforms, like running people into the ground. And it's just because their if then statement is, are you not making progress? Oh, you're not making progress. Add more volume. Yeah. And people are stupid and they just go, well, the computer told me to do it, so I have to do it. And they run themselves into the ground. But I'm smart enough not to do that most of the time.
Yeah.
So when I was fucked, I just either you can, like, drop the percentage, so you can, do the session at 90% of the programmed power or, do that kind of thing. So it's just all auto-regulation and not being an idiot.
So does your trainer, when you've got the workouts built in, does it change resistance or do you have to push it change resistance?
So you can, most of them do like a manual or an erg mode.
Yeah.
Manual's like you change your gears.
Yep.
erg mode, it changes the resistance. So my trainer bike is like an old hardtail mountain bike that doesn't have brakes or gears on it.
Yeah.
Like it's literally just I have it in one gear and it just sits there and pedals. That's all I need, right? So yeah, and that's what it's great for. Is it's like super measurable. Whereas if I'm like going to go and ride outdoors, you need to know the circuit you're running or riding or whatever, right? Or you need a hill that's the right length. And like now riding road bikes at the moment, I've got a couple of hills that like I can do as, you know, like I know that's going to be like a 6 to 8 minute threshold effort if I'm really pushing, so I can repeat that and do things like that. But from a like hard training output, it's great.
Yeah. Because I got a power meter for that reason. I'm like that's why I want an indoor trainer, because I got a power meter, and I remember during COVID I did all the VO2 max testing and whatever else, and it was all like now I'm pretty much all RPE for interval efforts for myself with anyone and a lot of my programming. But for this, it was for each zone of heart rate, percentage of VO2 max. For the bike, it was go to this wattage.
Yeah.
Then I was getting the power meter, and I had my GPS all hooked up to it and sick. And I'd go to the velodrome and do intervals at the velodrome. That was some of the hardest training.
Yeah, so one of our guys at the gym
just
won the individual time trial at indoor like Velo Nationals. Rode like a 1K in like a minute something. So yeah, he competes in para and is like trying to qualify for the Paralympics. And that shit's crazy. Like watching him punch 15-second 1200 watt out efforts is crazy. I did a VO2 max at UC recently, like a proper lab mask and shit. That was fucked.
It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, the mask was fucked. I nearly choked a couple of times.
Like, how are you breathing through the nose?
This was all mouth because they pinch your mouth and put a mask over it.
Yeah, so I'm I get claustrophobic.
Yeah, see, I was fine because I breathe through my mouth for all my stuff anyway. But that was a fucking unpleasant experience.
What was your VO2?
I think it ended up being like 37, 38, something like that. I weigh 120 kilos, so that never really helps that shit.
Yeah.
But that was improved like significantly on where I was from so the other one is you use FTPs, the cycling metric, functional threshold power is like a estimate of what the power you can hold for an hour. And the first time I did a FTP test, it was like low 200s, and I think I hit 275 or 280 or something like that.
Yeah, nice. Well, you got some power in them legs.
Yeah, well, you'd want to after the many years I spent squatting.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's a different beast.
Are you doing any strength training?
Yeah, bits and pieces. It's still the first thing to go in my life. Like when I get busy, it gets dropped because again, like I get the cathartic training benefit from running and riding. So like I'll run or ride 5 days a week, but I'll maybe lift 2 or 3 times on a good week, and it's the first thing to go. So
yeah, absolutely.
I still enjoy it, like, but it's, you know, I haven't squatted with a barbell on my back in like probably years at this point.
Yeah.
I fucked my back deadlifting at our end of year Christmas party like a week and a half ago.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all because I put a real aggressive bike position and jacked my bike up and back up for like a week, and then just tried to pull a max effort deadlift, and went out and drank beers afterwards. Which,
Did you pull a max effort?
Well, I got it to like mid shin, and so it was max effort in that my back gave up. I definitely felt it go crunch, and I went,
How heavy was it?
I was saying like 230 or something like that.
Yeah.
I if I'd still been deadlifting the couple of weeks before that, I was probably good for like 250, 260 and how it was feeling in the weeks before it. But yeah, then I just didn't. Life got in the way.
Yeah.
It happens.
All right, I'm going to circle all the way back to the very start of this conversation. Excellent. We were talking about some ultra endurance documentary that you boys were talking about.
The Barkley marathon.
The Barkley.
We've spoken about this on the podcast before.
What is it?
Have we?
Yeah.
So it's
I feel like we've spoken about it just...
I mentioned it.
I have no idea about this.
I went into a rabbit hole with Barkley marathons and backyard ultras.
Yeah, so the ad read you were doing about the King of the Hill.
Hardcore Harry's?
The backyard ultra.
Yeah, so that concept is called a backyard ultra. And the original guy, Laz, who's this dude that does Barkley marathons, it's like you run a 4.2 something mile loop every hour on the hour until there's only one person left.
Yeah.
everyone except for that one person DNFs. So you don't get a finish, you DNF. And one person finishes the race, right? That's the concept.
They're all losers.
And so it adds up to 100 miles every 24 hours. Like it's exactly 100 miles every 24 hours. The world record's like 3.5 days or something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. Exactly.
What?
And
all these people lifting weights, like, man, I'm so tough, bro. Get into endurance sport and like check out some of these cunts. They are crazy.
And you set up there with your crew and your little marquee. And
so that's what my 24-hour mountain bike race was. It was like a 10K loop, or 9.5K loop. Keep going until you quit.
Every hour?
Yeah. It was just go.
Oh, you just do a loop?
Yeah. So you go and you run your own pace, right? But with the backyard ultras, it's on the hour so you have to be on the start line for the lap.
Yeah.
You can take as long as you want, and then you've got the rest of the hour to rest, right?
Yeah.
You said 3.5 days?
Yeah, it's something like that.
100 miles.
And it was
so they're running over 500 Ks.
Yeah, and it was two guys who quit together. Like they were like, all right,
we're going to stop together.
We're both done, as opposed to we're doing this.
I feel like the sleep would get you.
Imagine the stooging that you could have done there.
Just
like, hey, bro, yeah, I'm going to finish. I swear.
Gotcha. The thing is, I reckon, I haven't had a lot of experience in it, obviously, but the experiences I have had in and around the endurance world, the culture is so much more about let's do this together. I think even in powerlifting, which I for a long time have been like, it's the only sport I've ever competed in where I've actively cheered for my competition.
Yeah.
But in especially in the ultra endurance world, it seems to be so like tight knit and just about let's all fucking go. Because I think it is just about how deep into this hole can you go. But the Barkley marathons is same guy. So it's 5 laps. Each lap's like a marathon. So it's like 42.5 Ks. Off trail through this like semi-frozen forest. You have to navigate yourself. You're not allowed to run with other people.
I think you can run with other people for the first three stages.
Yeah, so
they call that the Barkley fun run.
The fun run. If you complete
and then the last 2 stages are where the heavies.
Yeah,
by yourself.
So,
so you're on a different track.
So it's a course, like a 42K course, but each lap reverses direction. So you've got to like navigate back and forwards basically to prove you've hit all the checkpoints. Laz hides books. Like a novel, and your race number, you have to go to find the book,
rip the page,
pull the page out with your race number, and come back and be like, "Here's my 12 pages to check that you've done the lap." The start time, there's no official start time. It's a 12-hour start window.
They blow the horn.
He blows a conch shell, and that's
everyone's all sleeping.
Yeah, that's the 1 hour mark. So it's like you hear the horn. You've got 1 hour till we start. The start is him standing.
This is mad,
dude.
You got to watch the doco, man. You got to watch the doco.
Documentary.
So there's a Gary Robbins, I think it is.
The ginger runner.
It's like where dreams go to die or something like that. Yeah. It's on YouTube and it's fucking phenomenal.
The ginger runner has a heartbreaking story.
Yeah, it's like proper.
What do you mean ginger?
This guy's just
that's his YouTube handles. Ginger runner is ginger.
Yeah. Gingerly.
And anyway,
he's already
there. The start, right? It's not a start gun. He's just standing around. This is like this 75-year-old dude, like white beard, fucking glasses,
mad
stands
scientist.
There. The race starts when he lights a cigarette. So like everyone's just standing there waiting. He just puts a cigarette in his mouth, lights it, and everyone runs.
What the fuck?
No, man. This shit's wild.
Dude,
it's not like a race. Like, you look at Melbourne Marathon and they've
How
got
many people
banners.
are doing
It's sponsored
it?
by Nike.
There's only been like 15 finishes.
Yeah, there's in the couple of decades it's been running, 15 people have finished. 3 of them finished this year.
Wow.
Yeah, and every year when someone finishes, he makes it harder.
Makes it harder.
So next year's going to be fucked.
And there's only like 40 people qualify. You have to qualify.
You have to qualify?
You have to put it in.
It's not a qualification. It's like an application. You have to
I feel like the application would even be a bit of a quest.
I
You'd have
think
to
it is.
jump through some hoops.
Oh, what have you got to do to go when you first rock up? You got to bring a license plate from your state.
Yeah, so he's got between these trees in this forest. It's like all these.
But in the documentary, there's no footage from the race. It's only allowed.
Yeah,
at the campsite.
there's only 2 spots. There's from the campsite, and it's like called Widowmaker's Hill or some shit like that. And it's like one of the water drops, and it's this fucking like it would be a couple of kilometers up this like off trail, just power line fucking thing. You get to the top and there's just jugs of water, and these people are like zigzagging up this thing because it's so steep.
Yeah,
and that's the only spot you're allowed to like film from. So all the footage you get is these people like crawling into the
water station.
The water station or their campsite and like having to refuel and just go again.
That's wild. I'm gonna have to suss that out.
Man, there's a couple of really good ones about Barkley on YouTube. They're Gary Robbins ones.
The Where Dreams Go to Die.
It is genuinely like one of my favorite documentaries like that, because it's just you can see the hope in this guy's face just die in a way that it's crushing. It's wild.
I'm going to get on that tonight.
Well worth watching. And like I said, we all thought we were real tough lifting weights. Like you've got Zyzz on the wall, and like we're all tough.
Zyzz is tough.
Zyzz is tougher
don't
than
disagree.
any enduro athlete ever.
But endurance sport is so much.
You take that back.
Don't you dare.
Were you into Zyzz?
I wasn't quite. I was a little too performance focused, shall we say? I never got into lifting.
Never about that aesthetic life.
Yeah, like I was playing rugby, so I got into weights for playing better footy, and so it's always been about. So I was definitely of the era, right? But I don't pray at the altar like you cunts.
Yeah. It's a good place to pray.
Hey man, I'm not here to shame you for your religion. I just choose a different one.
Yeah. Nah. Fucking Zyzz is the goat.
We should do the Olympic distance try in those shorts, the Zyzz shorts, like the festival ones, like fluoros.
With a horrific fake tan would be ideal.
Yeah, that would be it. We get our teeth whitened as well.
Aviators.
Just the star lines.
Coming out of the water.
When they tell us where the swim cap, just crack the shits.
Bro, I did my hair. It took me 45 minutes.
Would you ever get into swimming for a try?
I've had a few people throw that around. Swimming's a pain in the ass to train. I don't think I can make the time in a way that I want to in my life for drive to the pool, swim for 40 minutes, change, go again. Like running and riding I do from my house. Like I just go and it's good. And so it's heaps easier like that. I think to do it in the way that I would want to, it would be a big ask from a time perspective.
If you do decide to do it, go get a swimming lesson.
Yeah, I definitly will.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, I got running coaching and had the same thing. There's a guy who I actually coached in powerlifting for a couple of years, like 65-year-old dude, weighs 64 kilos, Lex Anderson, deadlifts in the low twos.
Fucking oath.
And it was like an high-level sprinter. I did one running session with him, and he does these sessions on like a gravel car parky thing. And one of the drills he does is like, run 20 meters, first 5 meters, run with the cue that he's given you, thinking about that. Middle 10, drop it, and then pick it back up again. And I could hear the difference in my footfall. Like on the gravel, I went from this like slappy sound to like, I sound like I know what I'm doing. It was, I've done 2 sessions with him, and both I've walked away being like, oh shit.
What was the cue?
The first one was about like balancing my arms, and I was like running with he cued me to like run with my left side forward because I was like pulled this way. Yep. And so he's like, balance your arms and like
rotate
actively rotate into it. And straight away I was like, oh shit. And it was like the first few runs after that were hard. Learning any skill, it's the same in the gym. You give someone a cue and you have to pull the weight back a bit and let them feel what it feels like to work hard and hold that shape and do that kind of thing. So it's the same process. But I think when, like us, you've been lifting weights and you kind of know what your body's doing and where it is, you can pick something like that up and be like, all right, cool, now I can just go away and work on it. And that's the way he coaches people. It's like, we do technique sessions once a month or whatever it is. You go and do the work, which is like, that's what I think real coaching is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not I'm going to stand here and count your reps and tell you it's good every time you do it.
Yeah, look at every single.
With balance runner.
Yeah, we did.
It's like we'll book in a lesson. When should we do it? It's like run 30 times after this one and then come back.
Yeah.
Like, fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I did the 2. Yeah, it would have been like 6-8 weeks between the 2 of them. And both times I got tons out of them, and then that was it.
That was it. We only had one thing to focus on.
Yeah.
So don't worry. Like the only reason he gave us a second cue is because we were filming a YouTube video.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the only thing. He's like,
what was the second cue?
I don't even remember.
The arm swing was the main one.
The arm swing, high arm position.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way Lex talked about it was focus more on this rather than like backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
Because like every powerlifter, I don't know how to rotate.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
Stiff.
10 years of just doing this would
Stiff.
make things a bit hard.
Stiffness.
We had a swimming lesson last week.
Unbelievable.
And I went for the first swim yesterday and implemented some of the stuff. But yeah, helped us significantly. I
Professional.
and we got one in the bay after this. Going out in the bay and
Yeah, open water's a different beast.
he wants us in the open water.
I'm stressing.
It's a totally different ballgame.
I'm stressing.
Why?
Cold. Soft.
You fucking kidding.
It's 24 degrees.
Rears its head again.
I got 2 cowards in what, half an hour. I think I gotta look at myself in the mirror.
Are you wearing a wetsuit? No.
Nah.
I asked him
Budgies, mate.
I asked him at the pool last week, like, do we get a wetsuit? And he just like looked at me. He's like, nah, man. It was in his budgies, and he's like,
No chance.
I was in the bay like this, like 2 hours ago. I'm like, I shouldn't have asked.
Cold's an emotion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got lots of emotions.
It's all right. You're allowed to have emotions.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with emotions.
Yeah.
As long as you acknowledge them, move through them.
I'm a coward. Cowardice is one of my biggest ones.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
You can work on it.
Cowardice. Is that an emotion?
I don't know. Let's just go with
Character
it.
trait.
It's a character trait.
Character trait.
Character trait.
It's built in.
I gotta run 20 k's
I like
tomorrow.
it. I reckon you'll beat it out of you in the cold water, facing the
It's not
demons.
even going to be cold.
And the
Oh
sharks.
no, that's it. If there's one thing I know how to do, it's how to act tough.
Yeah, fucking.
So yeah. So
Cerebrus.
I'm gonna. Oh, don't worry. I'll put it on for Peter Hendricks.
Cerebrus.
Make
Like,
it.
yeah. I'm not cold.
Yeah.
This is easy.
Isn't that the whole idea? Fake it till you make it.
100% fake it till you become it.
Even
Yeah.
better.
What are the demons that you face when you're 12 hours into the saddle?
Yeah, his name's Steve. Calls me a dog every 15 minutes.
I
Are they
like,
just like stop? Just stop?
yeah, like that's the thing, right? Is I think running especially is like incredibly relentless because the moment you stop running, you stop. Like there's on a bike, and that's what was so brutal about riding a trainer indoors. Like the moment you stop, it stops. And I think I self-identified as an anaerobic athlete for like probably a decade and a half. I think I played rugby for 10 years. I went from like 110 was probably where I played my best footy. Got into powerlifting. I think I got to like 146, 147 was the biggest. I was like a fucking West Side, threes, cardio.
So you were praying to Louis' altar?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just same concept, different altar.
Yeah.
So I got into equip lifting because it was just a great excuse to be fat and keep doing all the eating.
Well, if you got into, you started in 2010, you said your first comp, that didn't Raw start in like 2012 or something?
Yeah, so like I competed at Pro Raw 1.
Yeah.
I did the first GPC Nats in 2012 that was like had Raw and so it was definitely, but I was still like on the outside because I think Australia's always had a much bigger Raw contingent than it has equipped.
Yeah.
Like equip's never been a big thing in Australia. So yeah, I like actively campaigned against the concept of running as a hobby for like a decade.
Yeah.
And I think most of it's less about like the demons things, and I don't think I fight demons in that concept. Like that's part of it for sure. Like I like doing hard things, but a lot of it's just like the joy of I can actually do this. Like I genuinely never thought I'd be in a position like I ran 5Ks without stopping last year for the first time in my life at 34, and that was like, oh shit, this is a thing I never thought I'd be able to do, and now I get to do it. And it's fun.
Is running in like the rugby sort of culture or community? Is there? Because I know with
big.
footy, like
it's
the off
not-
season is like real running heavy. And
I played in the front row. I was just fat and lazy. Like I've done a lot of running, but it was always as a means to an end.
Yeah.
Last year I got into running as a thing. Like it was just I was running for the sake of it, and it was again a new experience. It was really fun.
Yeah.
And it was because I walk around my way through 5Ks. Took me like 45 minutes. That was my like first run in a decade. And it was the first time in my entire life I'd been limited by my legs, not my lungs, because I'd been riding bikes for like 12 months. And my quads just stopped working, but I had energy, like I could have kept going. And that was like fascinating. I'm like, oh shit, this is a new experience. I haven't pushed into this realm before. And so it's been more an exploration of like, let's go, you can do this, as opposed to the slightly more negative approach I think I've probably had towards lifting in the past.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, just watching you boys go through it, I think that just like exploration of like, this is actually, it's just like freely open. Like you can just sort of.
Yeah, man. And I can tell a lot about my mental state based on how easy I find it to like find a rhythm and go. Whether it's like indoors or outdoors, riding or running, if I'm like a bit stressed and all over the shop and like haven't slept well and those kind of things, it feels subjectively way harder because I find it way harder to just like drop into that like rhythm of, I'm just going. So there's definitely hard moments for sure. And like grinding through 90 minutes of interval efforts on a bike that doesn't go anywhere is pretty fucking hard. But it's less, I don't like the Goggins approach to like we're all that cunts. We all live a pretty soft life. And I've been.
You don't stretch your psoas?
No.
What's his approach that you're referring
just
to?
the warrior mindset. I have no fucking time for that because I know actual warriors who've like been to war and done real hard shit. Like you run for fun because you're too soft to get therapy. Like that's it. It's the training's therapy thing. I have it it's the same concept, right? I have a problem with that because the only people that say that are people who need therapy. It's therapeutic, but like if all you do is run away from all your demons all the time, you're not actually making any progress.
I run to earn emotions. That's what I do. That's how. I
mean, that's one way to do it for sure. But I've always had a problem with it's the same in the powerlifting world. Like we're going to war. I have a real problem with all that shit.
Why? This might sound like it's coming from left field, but
I love a good tangent.
Yeah. Why are there so many gyms that have like satanic, like?
Because there's a bunch of cunts in powerlifting who need real therapy.
like the devil worship and like what?
So
you've been in a lot longer than we've been in.
Even the pro roll, we noticed you guys did pro roll. We got the t-shirt. And it's just like demonic blood, fucking streaks.
So, I've been in powerlifting now for a long time, right? And the story I've told a few people recently. When I got into powerlifting, it was almost exclusively made up of two groups: bikies and people who are shit at sport but good at training, which is the category I definitely fit into.
Yeah, you're not a bikie?
Absolutely not. Our gym's actually just across the road from I don't know if it still is, the Rebels national headquarters. They had a national meeting just outside our gym once. We had like a command. We had a command and control police truck up the top. They were like photographing everyone that came in.
I think I remember hearing about this.
They had like 300 bikes parked in the yard next to us. It was crazy. A bunch of our members got breath tested at like 5 p.m. on a Thursday night leaving the gym, and it was nuts. It was like exclusively bikies and shit athletes. And these days, the bikies are definitely still there, but it is increasingly a smaller and smaller percentage. The shit athletes has definitely grown, and that's why powerlifting's like there's a bunch of freaks in there because it's these people who are like legit athletes, not powerlifters, which is not a real sport. It's not that athletic, right?
Yeah,
lifting weights isn't real athleticism. It's just a different experience. Anyway, the middle group that's like exploded, and I say this as a term of endearment and affection, is like mega nerds who are generally people who went through high school probably getting bullied for being way smarter than all the meatheads and doing well. And then they hit university and discovered the gym and then discovered the powerlifting end and got into the
science, objective stuff.
Data side of it. So you get we did workshops and stuff. And it's like, I go around and one of the questions I ask is, what do you do for fun that isn't lifting weights? And increasingly it's like I game or I'm into
absolutely
Warhammer and stuff like that. Those people didn't lift weights when I got into it. Right.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah. I think because of that, you've also then got a bunch of people who haven't ever experienced proper competition, right? And I'm an athlete who got into powerlifting as opposed to a powerlifter who discovered competition and that side of things. And I think, again, that's a different mindset to it as well.
This was always my not qualm with it, but even on competition day, I was like, it's such a simple sport to execute for me because I'd come from playing Australian rules footy where literally anything could happen.
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
It was top of the table clash and anything could happen. You don't know what's going to happen. You can win by 10 goals, you lose by 10 goals. It could be a 1 point game. Could be the hardest game of your life. Could be the easiest game of your life. You don't like you just don't know. And you're probably saying with fight, like when you were fighting, it's so many variables at play that could change the outcome on any given day. Whereas my philosophy always with powerlifting was like, there's two things that really happen. I'm either strong enough to get it, or I'm not, or I fucked up technically. Yeah, it really only falls into those two categories for me. I don't know if anyone can tell me there's another. Yeah,
I think, I think that happens in any sport, but in powerlifting, it's all you, right? Like, and that's actually what got me into powerlifting. Yeah. Like, I'm competitive enough that I would have gone back to playing footy because I punched someone in the face, broke my hand playing footy. I'd like to say I knocked him out, but I just threw a terrible punch, broke my hand. Anyway, but that's why we're here having this conversation, right? Because I was like, I just kind of discovered powerlifting. I distinctly remember watching that Ronnie Coleman 800 for 2 squat suit video, and I remember the first time I watched it. Fucking classic. I remember the first time I watched it, going and talking to the guy I was training with, and being like, it seems to be like he's cheating, like wearing this suit and like wraps and stuff. And turns out I got into multiply lifting. And yeah, so I was like, I'll train for this powerlifting meet and then I'll go back and play footy. And at that point, I was a bit disenfranchised with playing for a shitty footy club who, like, the first year I played first grade, we lost every game by 50 plus points.
Love that.
Yeah, it was a learning experience. And I was sick of not being responsible for the outcome. Like, I can put in all the effort, but you aren't taking it seriously, and that's your prerogative. But I got the shits with that, having played team sports my whole life. So I got into powerlifting because I was like, this is about me, and I just want to be better than I was last time and make progress. And along the way, won some nationals, did some cool shit, but it was never really about that aspect. It was about what can I do, and that for me is why I think in endurance it's more about I'll just go and do it because I don't actually care about like the outcome from an external output scenario. It's for me these days, it's about the experience. Like I said before, the half marathon thing, that the experience wasn't what I wanted. Yeah. So I'm going to do it differently next time.
So I really enjoy that's one thing I've enjoyed is the experience of it. Yeah. The triathlon this year, sprint tri earlier, and the 10K, the half, and I actually like the day. Yeah. The running with everyone.
Yeah. I had heaps of fun with the trail race. Like that was great. I think partly because it's like way more spread out and there's less just people like pounding past me all the time. Yep. Which kind of that's what I felt like pulled me out of the experience of it. And there's definitely aspects of like I was going to do the 24-hour race for the logistical side of it, right? Like having a team there and it's on a day and that kind of shit. But these days I think it'll just be I'm just going to go do it because I don't actually give a fuck what anyone else thinks about it. I'm just doing it because I want to. And so I don't need to go and pay $150 to do a race with 10,000 other cunts. Who are mostly better than me because I suck at this.
And I just get frustrated when they run past.
Yeah, exactly.
When Jane from accounting just swings past me at the 10
like you have
mark.
no business running past me. Like they do because they just did. But it still pisses me off.
I want to loop back to the very start of your powerlifting journey. What is the process of getting into powerlifting before it was raw lifting? Like, are you going to a club? Are you going to? Are there people in your gym doing it, and you're just observing? Like,
so I discovered like Marcus and the PTC people through the Oz bodybuilding forums back in the day.
The forums. You were a Zyzz guy underneath, absolutely.
I was the right era, but it wasn't my jam.
It's in there.
I'm not saying there's not an influence, but I'm not fucking praying at the altar. Like I won't be here for prayers afterwards. All right.
That's a team event. You are actually here for that. Yeah, okay, cool. We'll do that together. I'll walk you through it.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Is there holy water or is it just
trans classics?
Yeah. I've actually found a really banging dance music classics playlist on the way down here. It was great.
Nice.
So I discovered that. Started sort of learning about it through that. Professional. Elite FTS was like one of the only websites on the internet providing like powerlifting specific information at that point. And it's like Dave Tate, Jim Wendler, like all ex-West Side guys.
Heavies.
Right? And so I got exposed to equip lifting through that, found West Side, that kind of thing. Like got into DeFranco and those dudes for a bit. But always just loved the equip lifting thing. I wanted to squat 1,000 pounds. That was my goal. Like all I cared about.
Yeah, but did you find other people were you in Canberra at this time?
Yeah. So I I found the forums. Then I discovered it was called Power Sports Club. It was like one of the first like garage gyms kind of to open in Canberra.
Yeah.
And I discovered one of the guys running it on the forum. So I met up with him and then started hanging out, training there. And ultimately like PTC Canberra started in that location and then became Burleigh. And I've still got the Power Sports sign on my wall at the gym.
Yeah.
But like, I could probably name the 15 people that were into equip lifting in Australia at that point.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of that. It was just me kind of figuring my shit out as we went.
Yeah. Were you like sharing suits and stuff? Like,
No, I got a couple of secondhand suits, bits and pieces, but the two I did my best lifting and I bought myself from Elite FTS as it happens. Like I trained with, there's a group of equip lifters in Canberra I trained with for a little bit. And then we opened PTC and I was training my own gym. So, but it's a niche sport within an incredibly niche sport anyway. There weren't many people doing it and certainly not many.
Are any of those boys still rolling?
There's definitely a few around. A few of them aren't as active competitively, but I'm still training in that world. But it's a way different beast and it's certainly not for everyone.
Nah.
It was heaps of fun.
Hours of training.
Yeah, a squat session used to take me like 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
But I'd lose like a day and a half because Sunday morning I'd start thinking about squats on Monday. It'd take me like, I was also fucking fat and incredibly unfit. And so it'd take me, half an hour, 40 minutes to like warm up into the low twos. I'd put my suit on. That'd take 10 minutes. Then I'd, go like 250, 280, 350, something like that. That takes another 30 minutes. And then there's, a handful of hard shit. And then I'm like, fuck, I'm done. I'm going home and it's been 4 hours.
Is all the, like, especially like getting into like your actual comp prep for like when you're going to squat 1,000 fucking pounds, is it just singles the whole way through leading up?
No, I did bits and pieces. Like I trained like West Side for a long time.
Ah, true. You would have been doing,
But in the end, did my best lifting where I just like trained like a power lifter, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Just with a suit on. So I think I did like triples and stuff. I never really went beyond that.
Yeah. In the suit.
Yeah. But that was like, straps down or loose straps or whatever. And so, there's orders of magnitude when it comes to how much gear you're getting out of the gear.
Yeah. And at that event where you went to squat 1,000, what were your other numbers at?
I think the first time I did, so 2013, I think I opened at like 370, 375, went to 400, missed 425, which would have given me the biggest squat in the country at the time. Then I think maybe 2 meets after that, I was like, all I'm doing is attempting 1,000. So I like opened at 380 or something and was high because I was too fat and my suit was too tight. So I went to like 420 and then just went straight to 455.
Yeah.
So I did that a couple of times and just missed it.
Yeah.
But that I was like...
What about like bench and dead?
So my best equip bench is like 210. Should have been like 230 that day, but I fucked my opener up twice. My best deadlift, I only have deadlifted raw because I was too fat to deadlift in my squat suit. You just can't get to the bar. I think my best comp deadlift's like 275, something like that.
Yeah. So just a squat fucking savage.
The 2 nationals I won, I out-squatted everyone by so much they couldn't catch up.
Yeah, nice. The reverse deadlift hero.
Yeah, it's the best.
That's wild.
Start ahead of everyone.
450 kilos on your back.
Catch me.
It was an interesting experience. I'm never going back to it.
Yeah.
And it's weird to, like, I've been lifting weights for 20 years and know that I've lifted the heaviest weight I'll ever lift again. Like,
yeah.
Could I get back there? Probably. Do I want to? No.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of going through that struggle at the moment.
So interestingly though, you're like living it, right? It took me years to realize it. Like, I did that in 2015 and I don't reckon I realized it until probably 2019.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh.
I'm just like, will I ever get back to that? The Nationals, end of 22 when I totaled 767 and a half. I'm like, well, and I'm like, I don't know if I will.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I want to dedicate the time and consistency to the training to do that, to get to that level, which I had to for years. And that was years of training. That was training in the garage by myself, doing 240 kilo triple squats by myself, crying at the wall, just doing it.
That's the thing. I don't want it badly enough anymore. and I'm glad I did it. And like, it was a really cool thing to have done. And I'm like, I attribute a lot of my technical understanding of powerlifting to the time I spent equip lifting, because it's like, you've just got to be technically super proficient, right? That's, the joke is I wasn't actually that strong. My best squat in a belt and wraps was like 250 or something like that at the time. And I squatted 410 in a suit. Yeah. I just got heaps out of the suit because I was really good at it. And so you've got to be really technically proficient. And that then carries over into a better understanding of like, what am I trying to do? Because when you know what you're trying to do, it's easier to be efficient at it and get heaps out of it. But yeah, it's a totally different kettle of fish, equip lifting to raw lifting. But even raw lifting, like, I'm not that interested in being really strong raw anymore, because I've found endurance sport and I'm having way more fun with it.
Yeah, I think it comes down to fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just find, like, we're going now to do the swim in the bay, and it's just like mentally stimulating. It's a new challenge. We'll go for a ride later in the week. You know, I'm going up to, for Christmas, we're going to Goulburn. I'll go running Goulburn this weekend. It's just
how long are you in Goulburn for?
3 nights.
When are you leaving?
Boxing Day. We're up there for Christmas.
Okay, cool.
I
won't be back. Otherwise, I'd say come past on the way through.
On Canberra, we'll do a fucking. Yeah, but it just comes down to, and then just enjoying just bodybuilding, getting a bit of a pump at the moment.
Yeah,
training like that. It's just like.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. Is like, I look back on the time I did powerlifting. Like, the biggest regret I have is not actively doing cardio in a way that I absolutely should have, because I genuinely feel like a different human now than I did. Like, at 145, all I was good at was squatting, and that was about it. And I can sleep, I can run. Like, these days, the joke I tell is my only motivation in training is to make sure my 5.5-year-old loses every sporting activity we do for the next 15 years. And so that means I need to be strong enough for a while. Yeah, absolutely. Cunt's got to earn his wins.
I still remember the time that I beat my dad.
Yeah.
It's like etched in my memory.
Absolutely.
I was probably like... No. So he had stupid as it is, he had these planks of wood that were like for scaffolding or something up against the garage. And he was just like, "Oh, Jim, come see if you can run up these planks." And I was like 17 or 18. And I just like walked up there, like, it was just not hard at all. And then Dad tried to do it, and then he just couldn't get up the fucking planks or something. So for some reason, I just like blitzed up it. And then he was like, "Oh, whatever." And then for some reason, we were pulling trees out of the ground. And Dad's like, "You can't pull that tree out of the ground." I'm like, "Yeah, good." And I just ripped this fucking tree out of the ground. I still remember the day. Like, it was like,
like, I say it as a joke because it's a funny joke, right? All the people who know me know I mean it. Like, because I fucking mean it. We don't play board games in my house because I'm a terrible winner and a terrible loser. But the reality from my point of view is I recognize how overwhelmingly positive the influence of like sport and being physically active has had on my life. So I never want to be in a position where my kid's life experience is rate limited by my capabilities. So I can run, I can ride, I can do all those things. Lifting's a part of that because I still like lifting. It just looks way different now than it did because it doesn't scratch the same itch. Like the concept of putting a barbell on my back to squat, I know I'm competitive enough that suddenly I'll be really fat and strong again and I'll hate myself. But also it just like it doesn't, I don't have that itch for it.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's the itch.
It fits into everything you've said for years. Like it's a hobby. Like just explore.
Because you just want to do this shit forever. You want to exercise forever. You want to move forever. And it's like if you don't give yourself a chance to pivot or find a tangent or whatever else, you just end up quitting.
Yeah.
And you don't do anything. And you just
in the end, man, I like COVID saved me. Right? Like lockdown properly saved me because it gave me the physical, mental space from the work to find something that I enjoyed. And I had this realization running, like literally only a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, like 30 minutes into a 60-minute session. It's like, fuck, I'm 35. I've owned a gym for nearly a decade. I've been in the industry for like a decade and a half. I don't like exercise. Turns out I like training. And the thing that nearly killed my relationship with training was I only had this very narrow view of what is training. It was, this is what training is. I'm a coach. Everyone's a powerlifter. The barbell's the king. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And these days, I'm I literally had online client who I just coached through a year of powerlifting talked to me. Was like, I've got this plan for next year. Like, I want to do a triathlon. Like, I want to do those other things. I thought about going elsewhere, but like, I've watched your journey and I'm really excited. I was like, fuck yeah, man. That's the shit I'm actually interested in from a professional standpoint these days. Powerlifting, like you said, it's pretty fucking simple. Once you've got a reasonable system for writing a program and you understand how to coach technically, it's not that complex. A lot of it's managing people and making sure they're not doing dumb things and, you know, doing their bit. But that's the interesting part. Professionally, is I enjoy how do we piece this together in a way that you're having heaps of fun doing it, and you want to be able to do all these things because, like, turns out you can run hard and lift weights and do those things. And like, sure, there's got to be a balance, but also like. I live by the motto of everything in moderation, including moderation. Yeah. And occasionally, like, fucking blow the doors off and see what happens.
Yeah, fucking oath. The pivot message is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites. It's like, it's just the belief that you can do something different.
Yeah.
And I love, because even myself, it's like, if I'm not, before lifting, it was boxing, it was Muay Thai, stuff like that. If it's not that, then fuck it. It's not that, fuck it. It's like, no, like, hold on. You can move a little bit differently. And save the relationship.
Yeah,
like absolutely. That's it. You save the relationship rather than get to a point of like you detest this.
Yeah.
And you're in this space for so long trying to grind through something you hate, rather than say, all right, I realize it's not all about trying to be the best or trying to chase this down. I can actually continue to enjoy my life and like, because that's what training's for. I don't know. It's for me, training, exercise, all this shit is to add value to my life,
absolutely.
Not fucking take away from it.
Yeah. The second it becomes a chore, it's not worth it.
Exactly. It's like even now, it's like just the endurance stuff, and it's just like I love this.
Yeah.
That's
why I said like strength training is the first thing to drop out of my calendar. When my life gets hectic, it's the first thing to go. I'll pick up a run or a ride and do more on that time because that's where I get the therapeutic benefit, and that's the bit that I enjoy more these days. Part of it is I go to my workplace to train. Like, that's really hard as well. Is like I'm better at it these days because I train in the morning and I like go in, train, go home, come back. And that allows me to like create some of that separation, but that's the hard thing.
Is there a Derrimut in Canberra?
No, I'd rather not go somewhere like that.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. You seem to be a pretty big Zyzz follower.
Well, the other problem with that is I go into someone else's gym and be like, this isn't as good as my gym, and I hate it.
Yeah, the equipment and stuff.
And that would annoy me. So, in the end, like, I have a different outlet for it, right? So it's the thing that you enjoy, and in the end, if you enjoy it, then like, who's to say you can't do all these different things at once? And yeah, you might not be the best at it, but like, turns out I'm mediocre at all the things I do, so it's fun.
But I'm having a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's number one.
Cerebrus. Swimming in the sunken ship. There's a Half Moon Bay. There's a ship.
Love no context. Cerebrus.
Today.
Fucking.
This whole time I've been thinking Cerebrus is the coach's name.
No, it's the ship.
It's the ship off Half Moon Bay.
His name's Peter.
Yeah, you need to go a little run through Half Moon Bay and have a look at Cerebrus.
Cerebrus. Yeah. Sunken ship. We'll be out there.
Yeah, these boys are out there. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming down.
My pleasure.
Burley Strength in Canberra. Jesus. Check it out. Do you want to plug anything else?
Like, you can find me on Instagram. I'm just Sherro. Yeah, as an identity piece for you. I removed my gym name from my Instagram.
You did?
Handle. Yeah. I remember the day I did that.
Yeah.
Who looks at Sherro_Burley Strength and finds my gym?
Yeah. Probably. I can be myself.
Yeah, exactly. It's great.
I like it. Check it out. If you're in Canberra, need a good powerlifting community style gym. Fantastic spot.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Ciao. And that brings an end to episode 109 of Strength Cultures podcast. We appreciate you making it all the way to the end. So if you wanted to help us even further and share it on social media or share it directly to somebody who may find the content and the discussions interesting, we really would appreciate that. Secondary to that, I just wanted to check in again to let you know that we are available for coaching. If you are looking for some direction, some support, some well-structured training programming and nutrition help, we are here to help. We know a lot of people have probably set some new goals for 2024. It's not uncommon for people to feel a little bit lost in how to achieve those things. So if you're looking for some structure, some support, some direction, join the community. We're available for both in-person coaching here at the gym. Gym memberships are open as well. or you can jump on with online coaching if you're not in the area. We do have a fully fledged online service as well. So we'd love to help you. All you have to do is click the first link down below to go to the website. You can fill out that form and I'll be in contact. Or you can jump through Instagram, message the page or your favorite coach and get started that way as well. We'd love to help you out and help you with your 2024 strength, fitness, performance, and health goals. Regardless of where you're at with your journey, we are here to help. So thank you very much. We'll see you next week for episode 110 with another guest episode rolling through the pipeline. So thank you very much. Bye.